The first frame is already filed under tomorrow's date. Only smoke detector counted breaths in an empty apartment. Evidence object. The first witness does not scream. Dust shifts across the table before the door opens. The nearest person steps back, like the evidence has recognized them. The first question is not what happened. It is why smoke detector counted breaths in an empty apartment. Evidence object. Already knows the witness. The safe explanation is a witness misreading the tag. For almost 1 minute, that explanation works. Then, the clean recording keeps the damage and loses the voice. And the room stops feeling like a place people can leave. The danger is not death. It is being edited out of your own account. The first person in the room forgets a name they had just written down. The archive can keep its labels. The story belongs to the person who realizes. Smoke detector counted breaths in an empty apartment. Evidence object has started answering them personally. The air has the flat, wet smell of a room after power has been off too long. The next contradiction is not bigger. It is closer. The evidence stops matching itself and starts matching the witness. Now the witness has to decide whether the evidence is a warning, a lure, or a rehearsal. The record is accepting a contradiction before the team can reject it. The opening no longer looks like the first scene. It looks like the moment the room chose who would remember it. The final record note points to a second object that has not been found. The recording ends with the table waiting for another hand. The file ends because the archive runs out of procedure, not because the witness runs out of fear. The witness reaches for an ordinary explanation, then stops. Someone laughs once, too quietly, then asks to leave without looking away. The second playback removes the safest explanation. "Wait, did you hear that?" the witness asks, and the configured story location seems to hold its breath around the apartment. Who answers when nobody has spoken? Battery failure would be comforting if it explained the timing. It does not, because the last sound is a voice practicing the witness's answer. When the apartment returns, the room has learned the witness's next move. The room goes quiet only after someone says the wrong name. The clue turns into consequence when the apartment returns. A private memory becomes physical evidence in front of strangers. When the apartment returns, radio bleed from another room almost holds. Then the witness transcript quotes a sentence nobody has spoken yet. A small detail turns personal when the apartment answers back. The witness realizes the room knows which lie they were about to tell. The evidence is sealed, but the seal is warm. A light flickers once, then holds steady as if someone has warned it. The witness notices the pattern too late. The witness lowers their hand before anyone tells them what the evidence is. Someone keeps one hand in their pocket because touching the evidence now feels like answering it. The personal cost lands in a practical gesture: a badge removed, a door avoided, a name crossed out twice. A hand stays above the table, a name is avoided, and one breath arrives too late. The room pressures the witness before anyone understands what noticed them first. The choice lands before the mechanism becomes clear. The evidence returns only after it has changed a person, a memory, or a private lie. The room narrows around the witness. A staffer pockets the key, then cannot remember which door it opens. Every explanation asks one person to give up a piece of what they remember. The apartment stops being information and starts sounding like a demand. The second witness is listed as present tomorrow. By now, the configured story location feels rehearsed. A reflection arrives half a second before the person casting it. The witness is no longer investigating the event. The event is testing the witness. A harmless detail becomes impossible to ignore. Evidence changes before the first inspection note is. The witness repeats the wrong date and starts crying before they understand why. The file has found the person it wants. The file tries to stay procedural, but someone has to choose whether to trust their memory or the object in front of them. That is where the horror leaves the object and enters the room. The final ordinary sound is not a scream. It is the apartment, repeated once, after everyone agrees the room is empty. The consequence arrives through one clear detail. The timestamp clicks forward in a room where every clock has been unplugged. Ordinary procedure fails because a person changes before the evidence does. A rational explanation almost survives. Battery failure. Then the corrected copy changes first, and someone in the room has to abandon the safest answer. A small object from the opening returns with a changed consequence. The room remembers the witness before the witness enters. The witness understands why the room noticed them first. The configured story location holds the silence too long. Someone tries to laugh, then realizes the sound has already been filed somewhere else. Stay with the witness after the obvious explanation fails. The room does not become louder, it becomes more personal. A corrupted export from an older case fails because the witness transcript quotes a sentence nobody has spoken yet. One more practical detail changes what the witness can trust. The apartment stays ordinary enough to touch, and that is why touching it feels like answering. The next proof belongs to a person, not a file. The last sound is a voice practicing the witness's answer. The horror keeps shrinking until it fits inside one remembered detail. The evidence stops matching itself and starts matching the witness. "Don't touch it," someone says when the apartment answers out of turn, but the warning arrives one breath too late. A second silence arrives, after the room should be safe. A camera clock drifting under load almost explains it. Then the room goes quiet, only after someone says the wrong name. Keep the camera on the person who tries not to react. The apartment makes the room feel chosen instead of observed. The archive can seal evidence, but it cannot seal what the witness remembers next. The safest explanation breaks in a human place. A hand stops, a name disappears, and the apartment waits in plain view. No one in the configured story location says the fear out loud. A mislabeled intake file still sounds useful until the room remembers the witness before the witness enters. The room gives the witness one more chance to deny it. Then the apartment answers with the detail they were hiding. What hurts is how ordinary the evidence remains. The witness understands that touching it would feel like agreement. The file can call it a discrepancy, but the witness has already changed. By the final pass, the evidence is not louder, it is closer. The witness transcript quotes a sentence nobody has spoken yet. Stay with the witness after the obvious explanation fails. The recording catches a breath that does not belong to anyone on the log. The cost is small enough to deny and personal enough to ruin them. A mislabeled intake file fails because the room remembers the witness before the witness enters. The last sound is a voice practicing the witness's answer. The corrected copy changes first. "Please don't make me answer it." The witness whispers, but the apartment rings once from inside the configured story location. Why does it know their voice? "That isn't me," the witness says. Then the playback uses the same panic, half a second early. "Open the door." The words come from the apartment, soft and patient. What door is it talking about? "If it says my name again, I'm leaving," someone whispers. It says the name again. "Don't answer it." A second silence arrives after the room should be safe. A corrupted export from an older case almost explains it. Then the second witness is listed as present tomorrow. A camera clock drifting under load still sounds useful until the second playback removes the safest explanation.